going to get a second chance in the game.
All right, guys. My name is Coach Justin Clark. I'm here to speak on coaching the quarterback in the Carolina Shoot offense. I'm the offensive coordinator here in Columbia, South Carolina at Ridgeview High School. I just took this job in December, so we're very excited to kind of start this new chapter going forward. Before we get started, I would like to give a special thanks to my wife, Mary. She's at home right now taking care of the little girls. We got two little girls, Emma Grace and Isley, that like to keep us up at night all the time. I would like to give a shout out to my head coach, Perry Parks, who has given me this opportunity to go and run this offense at this school. And I want to give a shout out to our Ridgeview basketball team who just won the upper state championship, and they play for the state championship this coming week. But before we get started, this is what I like to do and kind of introduce what the Carolina Shoot is. It's basically kind of a bastardized version of the run and shoot, which is something that I fell in love in. This is a blend of offenses that I played in, and I believe is one of the most influential passing offenses in the history of the game. And when everybody talks about the run and shoot, everybody kind of goes back to the gunslingers with John Jenkins and Mouse Davis and June Jones. But a lot of the things that I have found is kind of the lower levels of how you can manipulate the running game with the run and shoot with Manny Matsakis and Tony DeMeo and things of that nature. And then I firmly believe that you can run a run and shoot style offense with multiple personnel. And I learned that with a coach named Marty Lowe, who was my offensive coordinator at Western Carolina University. And he kind of grew up and coaching with Coach Petrino at Louisville. And then my father was a multiple kind of a power spread, pro-eye type of coach. And I had to learn the offense that way. But the biggest thing, no matter what type of offense that you run, I firmly believe that the way that you practice and you set up practice is the most important thing that you can do. No matter if it's a flex bone type scheme, a wing T scheme, if you're air raid, run and shoot, it really doesn't matter. The way that you practice and the way that you set up practice, I firmly believe is what sets you apart. Just a little bit of kind of background. I've been running this Carolina Shoot offense for 8 years, and we've been able to be blessed with putting up some pretty good production yards. We've been able for this 8-year average of being over 2,000 yards rushing and 2,000 yards passing every season. In this 8 years, we've seen a lot of success. We've set records at every school that I've been at. We beat teams for the first time in school histories. Spartanburg, which is a perennial power here in South Carolina, when I was at Bowling Springs, Swain County, when I was a head coach in North Carolina at North Henderson. In the 8 years that I have been running this, 7 of those years we have made the playoffs, played for 2 region championships, played in the semi-final appearance, and sent multiple players to go play college football. And with that being said, I have been blessed with having a lot of good athletes in this system. And that's one of the reasons why we have the production yardage that we've had. The biggest thing before we actually kind of talk about the quarterback play is I want to talk about our philosophy behind what we do. The very first thing I think that anybody should ever do, whether it's wing T, run and shoot, air raid, or whatever it is, I think that you have to sit back and you have to utilize the personnel that we have. Okay, I don't know if we're going to have that 6'2", 6'3" receiver that we can just throw the ball up to every year. And so once we know what our personnel is, we have to be able to identify those playmakers and then get them the ball. One of the things that we do and we try to hang our hat on is get the ball out of our quarterback's hands and into the playmaker's hands. And so how are you going to design the scheme? The second thing and the big thing is what we do is spread the defense. We're going to stretch it both vertical and we're going to stretch it horizontal. I think a lot of teams now are trying to stretch it more horizontal and get the ball out quick on key screens, and we do a lot of that. But in our drop back game, we do like to throw the ball and stretch the ball vertically downfield. The third thing is now we're going to have to keep the defense accountable. We're going to play at a 2-minute pace the entire game. Now we can control the tempo and slow it down when we need to slow it down. But for the most part, we're going to sit back and we're going to stay on that pace of attacking the defense, because what I have seen of running this, it forces the defense to give something up. Are you going to give up the box numbers? Are you going to stack the box and give up the outside? It forces them now to play more of a vanilla type defense, and it forces them to play sound concepts. They can't sit here and blitz you from 5,000 different angles if you're playing at a tempo just because they can't get the call in. The fourth thing, and really this is, I'm a prima donna at heart. I grew up playing a quarterback, but I grew up in an offensive lineman household. My dad was an offensive lineman. My brother played offensive lineman at East Carolina. And you have to be able to run the football to win. As much as that hurts me to say, I like to sit back and throw it 70, 80 times a game. But you have to be able to run the football to win football games at the highest level. We have to establish the line of scrimmage, especially late in the fourth quarter. And the last thing is execute. We have to be able to execute our fundamentals and our job responsibilities. This is kind of what we break down each year with our season goals, and I can run this pretty quick. We're going to compete every day with mental and physical toughness. We like to have something Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, every single day, as far as we're going to do something competitively on Monday, whether it's a 2-minute drill, whether on Tuesdays it's a coming out or a goal line period. We're going to have something competitive. On Wednesdays, it's our third down day. And so we set up the sticks, we get the down and distance, and we're competing on down and distance. We have to be able to execute with proper fundamentals, make big plays. We're an explosive team, and that's one of the things that we do with our goal board is track how many explosive plays we have each week. We have to finish in everything that we do, and probably the most important thing that we look as far as a season goal is to have fun and enjoy playing the game. Okay, win the fourth quarter. Put team in front of any kind of personal goals. And then the last thing that we do is have 100% effort in everything that we do. I'm a big stats guy. And this is, if you have any kind of stickers on your helmets and pride stickers, this is where we get our stickers from, is our weekly goals. And we post this in the locker room. We post this coming out into practice. We have a couple of goal boards that we have that everybody can see. And it kind of shows you what we can do. But this is the thing that I want to really kind of focus on. This is our margin of error. Right? And this was really, really big for us. I started having our margin of error at 15%. And the year that we did it, we went 6-6, got beat in the first round. The next year I dropped it to 12, and we went 10-4 and got beat in the semifinals. And it was something that I think played a huge part into that, because now we're not having those same mistakes. We're not having the penalties. We're not having the turnovers. We're not having the sacks. And so whatever the total play is, we're going to divide that, and we're going to get our margin of error. And that was one of the biggest things that we set that up. And you can see what our goal board will look like going in to the season. Now, what we came here for with some quarterback play. In this Carolina shoot, I like to call it, and we like to call it, a quarterback factory. We've had tremendous success coaching the quarterbacks and having our quarterbacks be very productive. From Dylan Thompson to Tyrekus to Daniel Thompson to DJ Pearson, these quarterbacks have gone on to play on the next level. Dylan had the opportunity to get picked up by San Francisco and play for the Rams. And so we've had tremendous success with our quarterback system. Now, what we end up doing with this and kind of the building blocks of our guys, once they come to us in that first quarterback meeting, I always give them these two quotes. And it's one by Aristotle and it's one by Mike Leach. And basically the one from Aristotle is, whatever we do, we do with a habit, okay? So in the same way that we're trying to do things, we're trying to constantly create habits, okay? And then the biggest thing as far as a quarterback is to get Mike Leach, and I got this out of his book, get your eyes in the proper place at the proper time and throw it to the proper guy. And as coaches, That's really what it boils down to, is making sure our quarterback is getting his eyes in the right place at the right time. Now, for us, what is a quarterback? What is a Ridgeview Blazer quarterback? It's a full-time job. If he's not committed to getting better at his craft, he's not going to be successful. It's a leadership role. He must be able to mentally handle this position. The teammates are going to follow you just because of this position. And that's kind of the beauty and the curse of playing quarterback. You know, you're going to get all the success and you're going to get all the credit if you win, and then you're going to get all the credit if you lose. And so you got to be able to handle that situation. Some things that we look at as far as qualifications is the biggest thing is he must be an accurate passer. Okay, reads equal QBs. All right, and that's what we're talking about. Have your eyes in the proper place at the proper time. You know, everybody would like to have that quarterback that can throw it 70 yards down the field. Well, I need a quarterback that can be accurate. He must be a positive leader. He's got to be an encourager. Nobody wants to follow somebody that constantly belittles somebody. He must be confident. This is one of the biggest things as a quarterback. Sometimes I tell him to fake the confidence, you know, because now everybody's looking to you. And so if you have to fake your confidence, then fake it. You must be willing to work. This is countless hours of mastering your craft. What are you doing on the field? What are you doing off the field? Are you doing your film study? That you have to be able to work outside of the football field. And he's got to be coachable. You got to be able to take criticism. You got to be a disciplined player and getting your eyes and knowing what your keys are from this standpoint. The biggest thing with our quarterback stance is we want to have our left foot back. We want to have a little bit of a flex in the knees. We don't want to be too tall, too short. We want our hands up at all times because we don't want to tip our cadence. Sometimes you see, especially with your young quarterbacks, with their hands on the side, and when they say set go, they raise their hand, they raise their foot, and you can start getting some keys on that. And we want to be able to scan our eyes and find our pre-snap thoughts. Okay, and this kind of thought process, what we teach our quarterbacks, and I know I may be a little bit different, but I've actually gone away from teaching coverages, and I got this from Dylan Thompson when he played here at South Carolina, University of South Carolina. You know, he called me and said, "Coach, I don't understand why we're sitting in film rooms for thousands of hours when all I need to know as a quarterback is if the middle of the field is open or is the middle field's closed. That's really all I need to know because now that's going to dictate where I go." And so it was a kind of a lightning bolt to me as a high school guy. Why am I putting so much pressure on a quarterback to know coverages when all I need to teach him is the safety structure? And everything that we do is based around the safety structure. And so that's the way that I have now started teaching our quarterbacks. And so we're going to get the formation in play from the position coach. We're going to check the box numbers. If it's a run play, we do a heavy key screen and RPO with it. So we're going to check the box numbers. If we have 6 in the box, we're going to look for leverage on the outside. We get 5 in the box, we're going to run the football. We're going to check for the numbers of safeties. Is the middle field open? Is the middle field closed? We're going to check the leverage of the corner. You know, are they going to play some sort of palms where he's at 6 yards deep? Is he going to play a hard cover 2 deck? So we're going to look at the depth and leverage of the corner. We're going to look at our slots. Are they uncovered? If they're uncovered and our down and distance is plays in our favor, we can grip and rip and get that ball out there to them really, really fast. You know, if there is a motion or is there shift, we'll make sure that we get them set up to where we can shift or motion. And then the last thing is now getting our post-snap read. And the same thing, because we are a run and shoot type team, our receivers have to go basically through this same process, making sure we're the proper alignment, be on your marker. Depending on what the play concept is, depends on where you're going to be from the tackle. We can be anywhere from 5 to 8, or on the numbers, or inside the numbers as an outside guy, depending on what it is. Same thing as the receiver, is the same way with the quarterback. They're going to check the numbers of safeties, especially our slots on our core stuff. When we run any of our switch routes, our outside guy has to check, is the middle field open or is the middle field closed? Because now that's going to speed up his thought process when we run that seam read. If that outside receiver sees the middle of the field open, okay, and he's running his switch route on that seam read, I know primarily it's either going to be a stop, a post, or a hunt route. So he's got to be able to know what the safety structure will be. I have to know my release. As a receiver, this has to be one of the things that you focus on. Do I take a mandatory outside release? Do I take a take it release or the easiest release? This is very, very important. I have to run my route as hard as I can. I know a lot of people are going back to what Baylor was doing where one side is dead, one side's live. In our scheme, that can't happen because it affects what the coverage is doing. And so our guys have to be able to run the route as hard as they can. All right, inspect the ball every single play. You can't catch it if you're not ready. High point the ball, make a great noose the football, tuck it away, and get north. Some of the drill work that we do, this is our drill bank. This is kind of what our everyday drills. What I like to do is our warm-up and throwing drills. We'll do that every single day. Our pocket presence drills, I will take 2 a day to work on, and I always do PGA drill every single day. And then our game simulation, we'll work we'll either go 2-on-1, 3-on-1, or screen. We'll work one of those a day, okay? And so just kind of looking at that as we get on the film. What we end up doing with our practice drills with receivers, once we go with our practice and getting our quarterback Indy, we now go with our receivers, and this is a drill bank that we can use that particular day. Are we going to focus today more of our vertical pass game? If we are, we're going to work our seam read drill. We're going to work our vertical drill. If we're working choice in a lot of our shallow packages, we can go with our choice. We can go for a 3x1. One of the biggest drills that I like to do is a 3x1 drill. Is now I can get a singled up backside receiver working choice, and then now to the trips, I can get every single one of my guys to run our seam read, whether it's number 1 coming on the switch, number 2 just running his normal seam read, or number 3 running what we call swap, and now he's coming and running that seam read. And then as every kind of run and shoot or air raid team, we all do routes on air, and then we all do pass scale. For us, because we have so much built-in route concepts and conversions, in our pass scale, we will do a normal pass scale in a day with a pass scale that has blitz included to it, because I want our guys to recognize blitz and to get their hot route reads. All right, some of the quarterback drills, and we'll run through this pretty quick. Our throwing drills, I start off every single day with a baseball extension. I grew up playing baseball, and a lot of things that I learned from the baseball field, I translate to playing quarterback. And one of the very first things that we do is the baseball drill. This is the baseball extension, and we work this every day in our throwing routine. Okay, and we're working for the elbow snap extension, working the wrist snap, making sure we're getting a good rotation and spin on the football. And what we end up doing in any type of throws, we like to do in pairs of 5s. And so we'll go 5-5-5, do the next warm-up, 5-5-5, do the next warm-up. Making sure we're going to get our elbow extended all the way out, get a good follow-through extended, getting our thumb down, the wrist snap at the top. I don't want to go all the way down. We're just working on our tricep and activating the tricep, making sure our wrist placement as he's coming through is in the right spot with that nose of the ball pointing up to the sky. One of the biggest things with what you see with this drill with the young quarterback is when he's coming through, he's wanting to try to spin it to try to get the rotation. And that's one of the things that you can sit back and see is as he's going through, is he getting the right snap and is he coming through in the right pathway? All right, next thing we're going to look at is in the throwing progression is our shoulders being square. So now what we're looking at is making sure that front shoulder is now getting to the target, where now our feet are still planted in the ground. Our elbow's coming through. We're getting that elbow to zero. Our wrist placement as he's coming through. We're trying to get to that 18-inch hallway. For anybody that kind of follows Coach Maddox, we're trying to get in that hallway. Next thing after we get done with this would be our parallel drill. So now we're going to sit back and activate. We're going to open up our hips, okay, get that front shoulder there. And again, this drill right here, for especially with our younger guys, it places the importance, and it really shows their weakness of having that ball come out of the outside of their hand. It's either coming out of the outside, or now they're trying to spin it to try to get the rotation. And so this isolates what we can do to try to help our quarterbacks really, really understand of getting our upper body and our elbow into the hallway that we want it to be. So we'll go 5 this way. We'll flip it and go the easy way for the righties. This 4-5 drill, we do a top of it's called more of our top of routes type drill, but this is a throwing drill that we really we want to hit on rhythm. 4-5, get the ball out of our hands. Then we'll go 3-4-5, get the ball out of our hands. And so I treated this almost like a pitcher in baseball. And so what we'll end up doing, we'll have our feet already crossed, and you can see we're going to go 4-5 and throw. 4-5 and throw. So we're going to hit it on rhythm right here, 4-5 throw. And you can see right there he's overextended. All right, and so we're working that top of the drop. 4-5 throw, and that's better right there for him. All right, and that's one of the things that we can sit 4-5 on rhythm throw, and you can see how off balance that they can become if they're overextending on that leg drive, if they're not transitioning their weight as they're coming through. All right, our 3-4-5 is basically the same thing, but now we're just going to extend it to one more step. On this 3-4-5, 3-4-5 step throw. And so we're really working on the rhythm of the top of that drop. 3-4-5 and then throw. You see with that hitch, we're not supposed to do the hitch. Okay, and this is after the season. We haven't worked this much in that time period, so it's getting a little bit rusty with it. All right, so it's 3-4-5 step throw. That's a whole lot better with rhythm. Okay, next thing that we do is our pockets presence drill. One of the very first things that we do every single day is our PGA drill, and I actually got this from watching golf, of making sure that they're staying balanced, and so I just called it the PGA drill because I watched a lot of golf one day, and so we just came with it. Now what we're going to look at through this is we're looking for that back foot to lead as he's moving. We got a good base. And as he's going through this, as soon as the quarterback is now going to make his decision to throw the football, he now has to take that back foot, plant it in the ground, and then transition and get his hips through. Okay, and doing it with the bag allows me to now transfer my hip and get my back half through the throw. And this is one of the foundational movements foundational drills that we use to get that movement taught. All right, so now once we do this, we started as a walk-in. We're just going to walk through PGA, and then we're going to do a little bit as a quicker tempo just to get a little bit warmed up. And so now we're going to do it at a faster tempo, and he's going to make his throw. All right, the Sanchez drill. This is one of my favorite drills to work. Our quarterbacks hate it. But it's a good drill to keep them tight and making really, really few moves in the pocket, because I'm a big believer you don't have to make a lot of yardage moves. You just make one move, set up, and throw the football. And this drill will allow that to happen. Make sure when you're doing this, that back foot is always going to be the first one to move. Okay, so we start this as a little bit of a half speed type drill just to get them used to it, and then we'll work to full speed. All right, so now the biggest thing with our run and shoot offense, this Carolina shoot, is our quarterbacks and our running back, our quarterbacks and our receivers, I should say, should have to understand what the coverage structures are. All right, like I said, I don't teach coverage. If the middle of the field is closed, it's either 1 or 3. When the middle of the field is open, it could get cloudy really, really fast. And for 14 to 18-year-old kids, I don't want to put the pressure on them to say, Coach, they're in 2 strong, or they're in 2 combo, they're in 2 palms, they're in 3 strong. I don't really want them to understand that. That's on me. Okay, I want them to know, is the middle of the field open or is it the middle of the field closed? And then I'm going to attack that structure. I'm going to attack that grass. Okay, the way that we teach it is now, and I got this from Coach Maddox with his tubes, okay, with his R4 type tubes. We're going to teach it through this manner. And so whatever route that we're going to install, we're going to put this on the board, and we're going to put any kind of coverage combination that there is. We're going to draw the route, because I'm a whole coach. We're going to show it big picture, work on it in individual as a part, and then get back on the team and run it as a whole again. And so what we end up doing is using these tubes, and if I'm capped, I got to go be uncapped. With the line that's going straight across, that's the deck. Okay, so now I know that on this deck, once I pass that hard deck, now I know who I'm running the route off of. Okay, and we can do this in any kind of formation, 3x1, 2x2, or empty. Okay, and so the biggest thing that we do with our understanding of the routes and kind of some route adjustments is anytime we can go Georgia switch. And if we call Georgia switch, that's 1 and 2 switching off of a rub. We can go Georgia swap, that's 2 and 3. We can go to a bunch package and go trips right bunch, Georgia slip, and now number 3 and number 1 are switching the route. Okay, so we can do a lot of different things off of the same concept to window dress our core concepts. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit of how we do it with some specific concepts. Our base quick game is what we call look. Okay, look is, and I got this from Coach Lowe, who got it from Coach Petrino. This was one of our staples when I was at Western Carolina. All right, we'll talk about look, and we'll talk about go with our seam read, and we'll talk about choice, and then that's going to be kind of where we'll end it. But our look is a 6-yard option route with our slot guys. Okay, we're going to use a take it release, and as soon as you gain the leverage, you're going to make your route adjustment. Ideally, we want this to be at 6, knowing that they're probably going to run this at 5 or 4. Okay, but if I tell them to get to 6, they're going to get at least the 4 yards on this. If it is a zone drop by the defender, I'm just going to turn my butt to coverage. It could be a hitch route. It could be an outside hitch, or it could be an inside hitch. We're going to catch, turn upfield to the direction of the ball, and that's what we work with our settle and noose drill. If it is a man drop by the defender, I'm going to run away from the coverage. Okay, I'm going to break it in. I'm going to run an outside flat. I can run a slant. If it's cover 0, I can now run the seam fade. Okay, so this inside slot has a lot of different options that he can run. All right, so to our receivers, this is what it will look like. Kind of in the playbook, we'll go look Lexus. When we say Lexus, that's what we're calling. All right, if we go to a 3x1, okay, now that backside receiver, we can now tag on a route, and that quarterback is going to read backside 1 to the option. If it's 2x2, it's going to be a mirrored concept. MORs on the outside with our slot out options on the inside. All right, our quarterback's going to pre-snap scan the defense for a one-on-one matchup, and then he's going to read the drop off of that that flat defender. Okay, and so if he sees a cover 1 look, okay, and they're playing a man look, he likes that. He likes the matchup on the outside. Now we pre-snap scan that defense for that one-on-one matchup, and now if he feels that we can win it, we can throw a fade ball down the field. Okay. The one thing that I do tell the quarterbacks, if he sees pure cover 0, all right, we're going to try to win that route with the inside seam. Okay, that's one of the things that we look at. All right. On our Lexus, this is what the receivers will look like. We get really specific on our splits, our releases, our depth, and our pressure. Okay, so this is what the receivers will see. and they'll know from there. Now, so this is what it'll look like. So we'll go spread right, Lexus red. We're talking about our play concept and pass protection with it. And so we got 2x2, our MORs on the outside. We have our inside options with number 2. If we're in 3x1, we now have MORs to the trip side with number 3 running the option. And then backside, we can give that singled up receiver anything that we want. Okay, so the quarterback sees a route that he wants. He can now look backside and say, hey, run the hitch, run a slant, run a quick out, run a snap, or now we can break it off and we can run a fade. Okay, if it's empty, all it turns into is now 2x2 way of thinking. To the trips, it will be MOR option. To the backside, it's MOR option. Okay, and so this see some film with it right here, and we were very blessed this year to have some really, really good skill guys. All right, and so if you look up top, very first thing, this is really clinic tape up top with our sophomore receiver. He mandatory outside release. That corner tries to collision him. Christian now takes that club and now is able to occupy that corner, get him off balance to open up this outside option coming to him. All right, both slots see an inside leverage apex defender. They know that they cannot go run inside, and so they break it off on the flat route. Okay, this receiver down here on the bottom, little prima donna, he thinks that he can run whatever he wants to run. If the quarterback was to throw it down here on the bottom, Cortez is going to go see Cam in the hospital because that corner is going to come right underneath the chin. All right, so we're seeing 2x2. Down here on the bottom is more of a speed package with it. We see a blitz from the boundary. I want the ball in 15's hands. He is really, really good when the ball is in his hands. Quarterback was right with his read because he saw Mike blitz. Okay, the receiver was right. He just now inside turns on it. Okay, he could either have ran a slant, and I think that's what the quarterback was thinking that he was going to run. All right, but he just sits it down, runs the grass, settles down. Now he just got to catch the football. Okay, down here on the bottom, that was really, really good by Montre, number 15, of seeing blitz, recognizing blitz, and just sitting down. And that's the reason why we love this route concept so much, is because it gives our guys options and to allow them to take ownership of getting open. All right, 3x1. We're playing Dutch Fork, who Coach Pelham just spoke earlier today, and they put a pretty good whooping on us. But you see, it's 4th down. We're gonna run our look concept. Backside, they're gonna play cover 2. All right, so we don't like it backside. We see the MOR. Our play side number 1 has to outside release with it. Okay, Trini's never played outside, so this was a little bit new to him with this. All right, so he's got to take the outside. Number 3 sees inside leverage. He's able to catch the football, get upfield, get a first down. Okay, so back to a 2x2. Against this team, we're going to see really a lot of palms coverage, a lot of man. This defensive coordinator and this head coach does a tremendous job. All right, so he sees it, quarterback sees it backside. He's now can throw it. That's really good by Montre down here on the bottom of running to get open. He now likes the leverage back up top. This is our bigger, kind of our tight end flex guy. Catches that slant with that Mike linebacker dropping to our speed guy. Okay, so you can see that this linebacker right here now opening up down here to the bottom. He throws away from it with that slant coming back through the window. And so that's the biggest thing. We don't run, I think a lot of quick game focuses on fade out, fade out, fade out, fade out. Well, this can turn into fade out. It could turn into fade hitch. It could turn into fade slant. It could turn into double fade. And so it gives our guys a lot of freedom to get open in the slot. And you can see with Cam up top on this slant, okay, that DB is now really, really backpedaling. Okay, so he could have broke it either way, but he felt that he was more on the outside leverage of him. So if he crosses my face, I'm going to cross his face. And now he's a big body. Quarterback does a really, really good job of now throwing it into his body for completion. Okay, All right, so go back with our look package again, our Alexis. And this is one of the things, we really want the ball in this kid's hands. He's able to flip the hips, get in the second window. And now when the ball's in his hands, he can do special things. He's now signed to Kent State to play football, and he's going to do a tremendous job at Kent State. All right, this is against South Point, and they just won. This is their 4th state championship in a row. They're playing a cover 1 look on us, and Montre does a really good job of pressing the hips of this guy down here on the boundary. He already declared what he's going to do. His hips have already turned. Montre sees this down here on the slot. And so when he opens up his hips, he knows that I can cross his face, and I've already got him beat. Okay, and the quarterback and Montre now find that second window on the slant and able to get a pretty good gain. All right, now kind of the biggest thing that we do in our offense, okay, other than our quick game look concept, I'm a firm believer in our go package and our choice package. Our go package is a seam read by 2 and a flat by 3. And so we're really going to put a high-low on that apex defender. All right, and it's one of our core concepts in our Carolina shoot is our seam read. If you can understand our seam read, you can understand what we do offensively, because it is really the kind of the backbone of what we do. And then the next thing that we do in our choice package is step 2 for us. Okay, seam read and choice is what we really hang our hat on. All right, so on our seam read, what we end up doing and teaching our receivers and quarterbacks on this seam read is now we're going to identify our near safety. All right, our receiver has to know the release that he has to take. We're going to outside release to best release. All right, so we're going to attack that outside shoulder. If that apex defender flies across, now I can try to slip him to get back on our seam. As soon as he passes the under coverage, he has to make his adjustment. Okay, so we don't say run this seam read off the linebacker. We don't tell the quarterback, hey, read the linebacker on this, because if they rock that safety down, the safety is really the apex flat defender. And so we really don't teach, hey, read the linebacker on this or anything like that. And so as soon as he passes the under coverage, we have to make the adjustment. If the safety crosses my face, I cross his face. Meaning if the middle of the field is open, I have the option of running a bender post, I can run a hunt route, or I can run a stop. If the safety does not cross my face, I can stay on the hash and run my seam. Okay, and that is the backbone of this system. All right, so this is our go route. We're going to go trips right Georgia. And so we're really getting a high-low on that apex guy. And so this is what our seam read would look like, okay? And this is the beauty of teaching it in the tubes. I've seen in the last 2 years of running this scheme, this was the best thing that I could have done, and I wish I would have done this earlier, of teaching it through tubes, because now I'm able to teach it faster and the kids can get it and understand it faster. All right, so we'll show them the whole picture of Georgia, and then when we're teaching this seam read, now we can just draw up any type of covers that we want to. All right, so we're in trips. They're showing a 32 box, and now they're going to rotate to 3 strong, where they're going to send that jack from the field. All right, so now that flat defender is now that strong safety coming down and robbing, okay, and playing the flat. And so as I'm running that seam read, number 2, he's now going to outside release to best release. Then as soon as he passes that under coverage, now I have to make my decision. And so as soon as he passes that strong safety into his depth, now he realizes I'm going to continue to my tube. If nobody is in my tube, I am uncapped. I can stay on that seam, okay? And so now that's what that looks like. The next thing is, all right, now they're going to play a 32 box. They're going to reduce it from the boundary. They're going to play a type of cover 6 look. All right. So as I'm running down that seam read route runner now sees that apex guy fly out. Once he gets past that under coverage, he's now going to key that safety. That safety is now over the top of me. Okay. He didn't cross my face. He didn't do anything like that. The middle of the field is open, so I know that I have to attack the middle of the field or I have to stop. Okay. One of the things that we teach is kind of the old run and shoot poem. All right. If he's right, I left. If he's left, I right. If he's top, I stop. And if he's even, I'm leaving. Okay. So once our kids understand that, it's a little bit easier. So as I'm running that safety is now playing a kind of a quarter safety. He's not getting off the hash. He's dropping vertically down the hash. That receiver knows that I can't beat him deep, so I'm going to stop because he's in my tube and he has capped me. All right, I got to stay uncapped. Now, same look. All right, and they're now playing and that safety gets off the hash. Okay, they're playing more of a kind of a cover two look. All right, that's as I'm running down that seam, I'm running down my tube. That safety crosses my face. Now I know that I can cross his face. Okay, and so now as I cross that face, that safety crosses mine. Now I got to look in that next tube. The next person that can influence my depth and my route will be that linebacker. If that linebacker is playing a Tampa 2 type look and he's really, really trying to high wall and get to the middle of the field, then now we have to do something different. But if I can beat him to the middle of the field, I'm going to run that bender post. Now this next slide will show you what I was talking about with that Tampa 2 type drop with that linebacker. If he's really, really, really getting deep, all right, and he's trying to run and help those safety out that's getting off the hash, now we'll just cross his face and run a hunt route. So now as I run that seam read right here, okay, I'm going to pass the undercoverage, that safety's crossed my face. I'm now going to take that angle on the post, but now my eyes are back in here to that seam. Okay, if he's getting really, really, really deep on that drop, now I can just flatten that thing across and run a hunt route, and I'm just hunting a hole. Okay? All right, and that's the beauty of what this seam read is. Okay, so now I don't, my hard drive was wiped out. Any advice that an old head coach can give you is make sure when you leave that particular high school to have all your files backed up. All right, and if you do have them backed up, make sure that nobody can get that hard drive and wipe that hard drive either. Okay, so I got to go back to some stuff when I was an early coach putting this in at Boiling Springs High School. I had this on a DVD, and so some old Hawaii clips with this. We're gonna run go. All right, and you can see number 3 will have the flat. Number 2 has the seam read. They're trying to do some sort of bracket kind of apex. They blow the coverage. Now as he's running that seam, he has passed the undercoverage with it. Okay. Now, what I would end up doing and teaching is I'm going to stay on the hash or I'm going to stop. What Coach Jones does at Hawaii is he allows that receiver to widen from the safety. I don't go into that much detail with it. Okay. Right there, I'll just tell the quarterback and that receiver, hey, just stop right there. Okay. Because that safety's so deep, you're not going to be able to beat him deep on the seam. Just throttle down, throw the football in the hole right there. All right, so now we're trips left. We're going to get a little bit of a yo-yo motion to see what kind of covers that they're going to run. All right, number 2 is running the snap. You'll see with the seam read, and that's a really good job of that receiver recognizing now that I'm capped. I got to go be uncapped. So now he's now working that outside release. You can see that now that apex defender is now going outside, so he slips him. That now the receiver is capped, so now I got to get out of my tube and into this tube. Okay? And so now I'm going to cross his face, so he crosses my face, and now we can throw that post into that touchdown area. Okay? Really good throw, taking what they give you. With throwing that flat route. Okay, same thing. You got trips right. We're running go. We're going to work this seam read by number 2. Outside release. That's a good job of now finding the window. Okay, that's a really, really good job of finding that window. He crosses his face. I'm capped. Now go get open. Go find grass, and that's the beauty of what we do. And I think. What we end up doing and telling our receivers, okay, is we're just going to play basketball. Everybody that grew up playing backyard football, everybody has grown up playing, pickup basketball games at the park, okay? We're going to now go attack spots and attack grass and just go get open. And that's the beauty of what we do. All right, this is a little red zone concept down here on the goal line. If you're going to be, I don't want to say stupid enough, but if you're going to run just straight zero on the goal line, we're now going to run this pick play, okay? And for us, this is trips left. This is now Georgia Y pick, and now we're just going to pick you right there to get that flat player open, all right? All right, now choice route. This is another kind of our cornerstone backbone of what we do. Our choice route is always to the single receiver. And so if you start overplaying our trips and you start overplaying go, all right, and you start sending that backside safety to rob that post, and you're playing any type of palms coverage or solo coverage backside, all right, to where that number 3 is really reading that backside number 3 vertical threat, okay? Now we're going to go back and run choice. Okay, so we're going to really, really hit up that side. And so for that choice, that backside single receiver, he's going to get his eyes on the corner leverage, and he's going to make his route adjustment based off of that corner. He's not going to make his route adjustment until you get on your 7th step. Okay, so if the corner is inside leverage and soft, I'm going to run a bench. If the corner is inside leverage or even if he's pressed, I'm now going to run a vertical concept. All right. If that corner is outside leverage of me and he's soft, now I'm going to break it off and I'm going to run a glance. Okay. So it's really, really based off of that leverage of the corner. Okay. If he's soft and I can't beat him and he's capped me on my outside leverage, I'm now going to run the glance. If he's capped me and he's on my inside leverage, I can't run the glance, so I got to run the bench. All right. If that corner is inside leverage and he's even on me, if I'm even, I'm leaving. If it's a hard cover 2 and I'm pressed, I'm going to try to work that vertical, and we can throw a back shoulder fade. Okay. And so we got a lot of different options on that choice route backside. All right. So now this is what it would look like. This is a 3x1 drive. We can go 2x2 and run our choice concept. And now that number 3 receiver, if we put him backside at number 2, he will still have his shallow. And so it will turn into 2x2 shallow. So we can get really, really kind of multiple of how we run this choice route. Where I have been, I've had a really smart quarterback and smart backside X receiver. And he can run at his high. If he sees any kind of double blitz backside, all right, we can put a blitz beater and run a slant. I don't know if we're going to be able to get to that where I'm going. But that's another option that we can use, okay? So now, again, you can see on this choice route backside, we have the option of running the bench, we have the option of running the vertical, or we have the option of running the glance based off of that corner leverage, okay? And it's the same thing. Blank document, put it on the board, let's draw the routes, let's draw the coverage shell, and now getting our guys to understand who they're running their routes off of, okay? All right, so if we're seeing trips and we're going choice, that corner is now, they rotate from middle of the field open to middle of the field closed, and they play a 3 strong look. That corner is now capped me, and he's inside leverage. On that 7th step on that choice route, now he's going to run his bench route, okay? And how we talk about with this route concept, and let's go back to the last slide with this, okay? Everything that we do for me is progression read. All right, and so we're going to go 1 to the choice, 2 to the shallow, 3 to the seam read, and then 4 to the up route. And so it's a true cross-field read. All right, now it's a true cross-field read. Okay, so back to the receiver on this choice route, on his 7th step, he knows that corner has capped me. I can't beat him deep. He's inside leverage of me, so I can't run the glance. Now let's run the out route. Okay, let's run the bench. All right, they do the same thing. They show middle of the field open. They rock it to cover 3. All right, that corner is now capped me. I can't beat him deep, but he's outside leverage. Now let's run the glance. Same thing right here. They rock it to cover 3. He's playing inside leverage. He could be outside leverage, but if he's even, I'm leaving. Okay? If he's even, I'm leaving. And then the last thing is, all right, if they're going to reduce it, they're going to play a hard cover 2 deck to the backside. If he's cover 2, now I got to know I got to run that vertical because I got to occupy that safety and get in that hole. Okay? Quarterback's still going to read it as normal coverage. He's still going to go from progression from choice to shallow to seam read to his up route. Okay? All right, so a little bit of choice on film. So we're working backside right here. Okay, he sees a little blitz coming off the edge. Right there, I would like to see a bench. Okay, how we would teach this is now I can't win the leverage. I've now got to run the bench. Okay, all right, and so that's how we would teach it. Okay. Okay. All right, so still backside, we're going to work the choice route. He's the inside leverage with it right now. All right, I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He crosses my face, I cross his. All right, and that's really, really good by that X receiver backside. That corner was flat-footed. He jumped on the outside leverage. X receiver sees that he crosses his face, so I cross that defender's face. And that was a really, really good job back here with it. They're running a different concept here to the play side, but you see what we can do backside on the choice. All right, so we got choice down here. All right, we know it's a hard deck. Corner, that safety is now playing over the top. This right here is what we call choice swap, and we pivot. So the quarterback's now going through his progression. Normally what we'll have is that shallow coming with this swap. Remember our 2 and 3 switch. We tag the pivot on the backside. He slips out the backside of the route. Okay. I've only had the opportunity of having this 2 years as a coordinator of having this backside guy be able to back shoulder anything. Okay, and so if you see a corner pressed, he can't beat him over the top. Now we can have the option of now putting that ball on his back shoulder and really working that. I've had quarterbacks who are really, really good with this with Dylan and Daniel. But I had a great X receiver with Mason Sanders. He ended up playing at North Greenville University. He was about 6'4", white kid that can go get it. And so we would just position. I mean, he wasn't a burner or anything like that. He was a typical just backside possession receiver. And we would just call that choice on the backside. If they wanted to press him up, we would just back shoulder fade ball that thing till the cows came home. And that's the beauty of what we can do on the backside of it. All right, we'll talk about our mesh play, and then we'll kind of wrap this thing up. What we do with our mesh, I want to be able to continue to run our choice route, but I want an underneath package at the same time. And so that's what we came up with our mesh concept. So it's a little bit of a blended version of choice and a blended version of mesh, okay? All right, so what we can call it Clemson or Carolina. If we go Carolina, the dig is coming to the right-hand side. If it's Clemson, the dig's coming from the left-hand side. The choice is always the backside assignment, okay? All right, so now, this is what it'll look like. So we'll go spread right, Carolina Liz, okay? So if we're running mesh, we're running Carolina, we know the dig is coming to the right-hand side, the choice is backside. So the quarterback is still reading progression read, okay? We're going to go choice to 1, read the mesh to the dig, okay? So we're going choice to mesh to dig. All right, and this is some look at the school that I'm at. This was something that all I did, what they ended up doing was going post dig with the mesh. And so the only thing that I've changed during this kind of winter install is just now that instead of just running the post backside, we're going to run the choice. because that'll allow me to get a little bit more options on the backside, because we're going to be really, really good on our outside receivers this year. All right, and so you can see, so right here we're running Carolina. All right. So instead of, we now have the choice. Okay, on that choice, he's outside leverage. He's flat-footed, so I can't run the bench. Okay, all right. So now I got to be able to run that vertical. That's what I would end up doing instead of running the post. All right, this receiver, he's actually leaving us. He's going to JUCO, I think, at Highlands. He's going to be really, really good here in the near future. They got a daggone player, I tell you. He's really, really good. I think he had about 1,300 yards this year for him. All right, out of trips, all we'll do is run and we'll tag this receiver on the post. So we can run mesh, and we can run almost a Steve Spurrier Mills concept if we're seeing a lot of cover 4. Okay, and that safety is really flat-footed, so we can go trips, run mesh, and then now pre-snap peek this post. So we get the mesh on the bottom, backside with backside 1, play side 3. We get the dig crossing his face, and we get the post now over the top. Okay, 2x2 mesh. Again, this is against South Point, who's won 4 state championships in a row. And this region that we play in, it's a dogfight every single Friday. All right, we're running mesh down here on the bottom. We see the dig back here to the top, down here on the bottom. That's a really good job of knowing right now, even though it's a post, okay, what we'll run with this is he sees he's outside leverage. I can't run the bench. I have to cross his face. And so one of the things that I'm really, really excited on about coming to this school is they already have some of these ideas built in. And all we're doing is just tweaking it a little to give them a little bit more options of what we can do. All right. Just to wrap things up, I want to thank Coach Allball and Chief Pigskin for allowing me to come and speak. You can see my email. I got 2 little girls, so I'm up 24 hours a day. Feel free to give me an email. I'll talk football 24 hours a day. This is my cell phone number, my contact information. If you want to message me on Twitter, this is my Twitter handle. Again, I want to thank you. Thank you for listening to me ramble. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to give me a call, text me, send me a message on Twitter.